Hello, good morning to everybody. And I'm sorry for the lights. We don't know what happened now with the screen, but it's a little bit black. I hope you can see me in any case. Let's go to start this presentation. I don't know if I have to wait a little bit of time, but then I can start to present myself before to share my presentation. I'm very thankful, first of all, to be a part of this edition of TIPE. It's my first time, and I'm very excited, to be honest, to be a part of this conference. This very important and wonderful and interesting conference. But I'm also grateful to be a part of 3D printing, of Women in 3D Printing organization. Thanks to with Valeria Tirelli and other colleagues, we are a part of the national commitment, Italian commitment of Women in 3D Printing. And I want to thank you a lot. I want to thank a lot my colleague for this, for making me a part of this really wonderful organization. And first of all, I'm very grateful to be a part of the additive manufacturing world, because this is not, the additive manufacturing is not just a technology, in my opinion, but it's a really, really big and emotional word in this sense. So I'm gonna present me just a little bit to be sure that everybody can know who I am, and I know a lot of people in part of TIPE right now. And I'm sorry, first of all, for my English. I try to do my best. I know it's not the best, maybe, but I try to do my best, I promise. So I'm gonna start, and I'm Elena. I'm the CEO of Promix, and Promix is a company, a communication company focused on the industry and 3D printing field. I founded Promix in 2020 during the COVID pandemic with a very special goal in my mind. My goal was not just to communicating in traditional way, but my main goal was to share a new point of view through the communication, a new point of view to the industry through the using of 3D printing. I work in the 3D printing field for many years. For 8 years today, yes, for 8 years, and I'm very passionately about this technology, and I think it's possible through this technology to build a lot altogether. And I think also this technology has a different value than the normal technology, but has a really big human value. And that's why I'm here to talk about the human value of the additive manufacturing. What is behind the scene of the additive manufacturing? She, I'm sorry if I said she and not it, but I like to think about additive manufacturing as a person and not as just a technology. What she can offer to us, and not just a technology power, but just about the power that this kind of process has and the impact of this process about the people and about the industry. So let's start to the presentation. I like to talk like this, face to face and not behind a screen, but this presentation can focus it more maybe on some important key point about what I think about the presentation and about the communication of this process. I try to share now, and I hope you can see my screen. Okay, as I said, my presentation is about communicating the human value of additive manufacturing for industry growth. First of all, we are to focus it a little bit, of 3D printing, to think about this technology in a different way. 3D printing doesn't born about some necessary. We don't create 3D printing to build something normal, something traditional, but born stimulated by a human creativity. The fact is that Chuck Hill is the father of 3D system, of the first 3D printing 3D printers machine, 3D printer machine, and he invented the first 3D printing to create a three-dimensional element that was some special element that he has only in his imagination. This element was not to be possible to build with the traditional technology, and that's why he decided to create our own machine to build, to extrude his idea. He has an idea and he created the first 3D printing, that's 3D printer, sorry. That's why it's very important to know that the 3D print doesn't born as a normal technology, is not born, sorry, as a normal technology to make something, but was born stimulated by a human creativity. Wanted to go on with the presentation, I'm sorry. And this is this part of story is very important to know about the circularity, the real circularity of 3D printing through a different point of view. Let me say that we talk a lot about the circularity of 3D printing as a very respectful technology for the environmental impact, but I want to underline that is not just about the environmental impact. The reason why the 3D printing is a very circular system. Yes, for sure, we can save a lot about the material waste, about the energy consumption, but it's not just like this. 3D printing has a different impact about circularity and as a circular system. Why? We have to think that AM, 3D printing and additive manufacturing generates an entrepreneurial and productive model that starts from the extrusion of an initial human idea, because 3D printing starts from the first idea of Chuck, but keep stimulating the mind toward a new solution. So what I want to say is 3D printing starts from an idea, an initial idea, just simple idea maybe, but keep us to think and think again about a new idea. So 3D printing stimulate our creativity. That's why, in my opinion, is a circular system. I continue to share my presentation. And about my discussion, I'm becoming passionately about this discussion, I'm sorry. How is possible this? This is possible because 3D printing, as I think everybody of us already know, breaking design limits. And this action make us able to build, to continue to create something aligned with our own nature. We can be ourselves, we can be our own manager, our own creator. We can follow our nature without any limits. Our mind is totally uncaged about the limits, and I want to use uncaged and not free, because the normal technology sometimes cage our mind because of the limited to design of materials, of what we can do with the technology. But in this case, we are totally uncaged. We are free of the cage about the creation. And this is very important to talk about the circularity, I'm sorry, of 3D printing. Why circularity in the end? Because 3D printing is a process that arises from an impulse and generates a stimulus. What means this? I come back to you. The difference, the main difference between impulse and stimulus is that impulse is the first part we develop in our mind. We want to do something. We decided to do something in one moment, and this is a first impulse. but when we continue to generate something moved by some external stuff, like 3D printing in this case, we can call this stimulus. We are stimulated to continue, not just a normal impulse. Impulse is the first part, but some external factor stimulate us to continue to create. So this is the circularity in my mind of 3D printing, the new point of view about the circularity of 3D printing. And that's why it's a circular, creative, and productive system. And the important is that this system generates growth from the continuous exchange of idea and knowledge. In this picture, I want to share you the part of the women in 3D printing Italian part of the organization. Is just a small part because of the graphic of this presentation, but we are a lot of women, different company. There is a very important teacher. This is a researcher that build the 3D printing for medical fields, and this other woman is a part of a company that is called Digital Manufacturing Partner. So they help industry to use the additive manufacturing. So every people work in the additive fields, sharing idea, and this continue to this continued exchange between us and between people make grow the industry. I think the additive manufacturing is the only industry where this happen. I work in the different kind of industry, but in additive manufacturing industry, the sharing to share idea is the main important stuff that make growth the industry fields, and not just the additive manufacturing fields. So as we say, the 3D printing generates new opportunities, change, and industrial growth through development of creative thinking, human potential, and personal satisfaction. Why we can talk about personal satisfaction? Because when we are when we are engaged to create everything we want to do, everything we want to create, we fight it, and the satisfaction in this case make us to more motivated to continue to create, to be inspired, and to inspire other people to create. The personal satisfaction in this case is very, very important, because it's the engine that move our idea to continue to be developed. I'm sorry, but and this continue to develop idea, make this process a very sustainable process. We talk a lot about the sustainability in this time after the Green Deal, and in general in our time, the zeitgeist, if I can say something to explain better what I want to say. The zeitgeist is very focused now on the sustainability, but why we can talk about the sustainability of 3D printing? So I want to explain, look into your eyes, sorry. The sustainability of 3D printing is not, as I said, just environmental stuff, because to be sustainable, a process must take care not just about one field, but have to take care about all the aspects that make it fit for long-term strength. So in general, we talk about the sustainability of 3D printing, because 3D printing is respectful for the environmental impact. But the difference in this case is 3D printing is not just a sustainable system. Sorry, I want to say 3D printing is a sustainable system because it's not an obtainable system. There is a difference between what is sustainable and what is obtainable. What is obtainable is something that we can obtain very fast, but without the right stimulus, we're gonna lose very fast this. Sustainable is something that take care about a lot of aspects, because continue to stimulate us, and thanks to the thanks to the stimulus, we can continue to have a personal satisfaction, first of all, and so we're gonna continue to use this system. That's why I think 3D printing is a very sustainable system, because 3D printing take care. I'm gonna show you the presentation. I think 3D printing take care about everything that make this process really sustainable, that make she really sustainable. She take care about the saving in energy consumption, reduction in waste, time reduction, and we have to think about the time is a really, really precious resource. And but first of all, 3D printing is a really sustainable system, because increase the value of the human capital. Increase the value of the human capital means that make us able to continue to be satisfied about what we can do, about we can concretely create, and the creation is the first step to change the world, and we are changing the world through 3D printing. This is a process that generating growth in the entrepreneurial and productive fabric. For the reason I talk about till now, for the reason about the stimulus of the mind, for all the ability that this technology, this process, this kind of this way to create, because 3D printing, as I said, is not just a technology, but it's a way to create, make us able to do. And it's a growth to share, to talk about, and to be talked about. Why? I come back to you. It's very important to talk about 3D printing much more than other system, other technology, because the ability of this system to make us satisfied and to make us creative, to stimulate our creative thinking, make us able to build continuously and not just alone. Make us a really great team. Put the companies and the people all together to continue to build and to develop idea, and the idea are engine to move the world. So that's why it's very, very important to talk about 3D printing and to communicate 3D printing in a different way. Why in a different way? Now I'm gonna show you what I mean when I talk about different way. To communicate 3D printing, we usually employing functional communication, because we need to give to the industry a proactive flow. What means this? Usually we talk about the traditional communication, but there is a difference between promotional communication and functional communication. Usually, when we talk about promotional communication, we talk about the traditional advertising, and the traditional advertising have to be eye-catching, have to have a strong impact immediately for obtainable system, obtainable product. In the case of industry and in the case of 3D printing, because 3D printing and industry have something in common. When we talk about 3D printing, we talk about the industry and we talk about the people, all the same. For communicating this technology, we need a different impact. It's not important about eye-catching, it's important about inspiring messages. It's important to create inspiring messages. It's important not to make the wow effect, but it's important to make an effect that can inspire the people to continue to use mind. That is important, and that's why I love to call this kind of communication functional communication, because it's a communication with a very important goal and is functional to a common growth in industry of industry and of the people, not just for something obtainable, but about something sustainable in a long term. Sorry, I touched something wrong. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm human. I make some mistakes sometimes. And for talking about the right way to communicating 3D printing, we can use the basis of the marketing 5.0. The marketing 5.0 is a special marketing focus on the technology, but just the basis, because it's important. Don't talk just about the technical part, but to mix the technical part with the human part of 3D printing. So we have some important key points, 3 key points in my mind, not so much, but 3 important key points. We have to be focused, very focused, and develop this 3 key points to communicate. The importance of communication of 3D printing is not just to promoting a technology, it's to promoting a new way for make the world a better place for everybody. And this key points are just 3 key points, as I said. The title is a title that explains very good what I have in my mind. Advanced communication bring technology closer to the human, and human closer to the technology. So we have to mix, and not like in the Matrix movie, I mean, but we have to mix the power of the technology and the power of the human as a similar power to create something together. We have to collaborate with 3D printing. That's why I love to think about 3D printing like a person and not like a technology, because we work with 3D printing. We collaborate with 3D printing. We don't use 3D printing. We create something with 3D printing, like if the machines are our colleagues, because we can build together, we can cooperate it together to change the world now. And the key points are communicating technology as a tool also for the satisfaction of non-material goods. This is the important point I underline already enough, I think, but I want to underline one time again. What means non-material goods? Usually we create something concrete with 3D printing, but this concrete product make us able to be satisfied. So 3D printing make us able to build a concrete products and to build our satisfaction. Explore the forms of current rapid technological development in areas such as IoT, process, digitization, and AM. So this is a part, it's maybe the most traditional part of the communication of 3D printing, because you have also to talk about the news, the tips, the goal, the technical story, the technical tips about 3D printing, how to take advantages from 3D printing, how to use, sorry for the word, I don't like to use this word, but in this case it's necessary, the machines, how to use the materials, about the technical part of 3D printing in this case. It's also important. And generated automatic flow based on inspiring, informing, and engage instead of promoting. As I said, it's very important to give value of our good stories using 3D printing, cooperating with 3D printing, because our story can inspire the industry growth, and our personal story about case history, case study, about our research and development, about our also our ideas can make able the industry to grow all together. I think I'm gonna interrupt it. Sharing, I think in 3D printing, there are not so much competitor because everybody is engaged to do something different. So, of course, there are competitors in this field, like in every field. But in this case, we are more free to create something about following our nature. So it's important to share, to make the industry able to know about the advantages of 3D printing. And to end my presentation, I wanna hand this with important quotes that I really like. And is, by investing your talent, you make whatever you do last a lifetime or even longer. I give you 2 seconds for read again this sentence because it's very important sentence. What means in this case? Means that to develop our ideas and our talent, we are not building just for now. We are building looking to the future. Additive manufacturing is the only one system, process, technology, creative system that make us able to do like this. In this time, we are not focused just on now, but we are not passive anymore. We start to think about the future, and we work every day building something that will be longer than us. This is the most important value of 3D printing, and we need, sorry if I'm moving a little bit, but the lights is very bad. This is the reason why I think is very important to be focused and to share our point of view. Also, if it's a different point of view about 3D printing. Circular system, sustainable system. Why circular system? Why sustainable system? What 3D printing means for us, and what we can do with this wonderful system. 3D printing is creation, and we can create everything. We can rebuild the world all together thanks to share this this technology. I think I finished my presentation now. I don't want to be too long. I just want to be focused on the important stuff. So,
Elena, thank you for your presentation. But here we have questions for you.
yes.
Can we get the industry or companies to invest in these AM human relationships?
I'm sorry, shall I ask you to repeat the first part of the question?
Okay. How can we get the industry or companies to invest in these AM human relationships?
I think the most important step in this case is to involve the people that works in the company to using 3D printing, to make a workshop, to visit the fabric of 3D, the factories of 3D printing, to inspire to use to. If I can share something that happened to me in real life, when I started to work in a company years ago. In this company, the owner of the company both to us employed some books about 3D printing. I think to inspire the person to read and to inform themselves about 3D printing and the using of 3D printing is very important to stimulate the mind on the creative way. It's important to talk, to be fast. It's important to talk about this.
Yes, agree. I think this is something that we have to look forward to and work hard on that as well. Yeah, thank you so much, Elena. Thank you so much for your times that you have helped out and also attend our events and become our speaker for today.